For centuries, we've really only heard one side of the story when it comes to Morgan Le Fay. She's always the jealous sorceress, right? The villain lurking in the shadows of Arthurian legend. But what if that whole story is a lie? Today, we're jumping into a pretty radical reinterpretation that flips the entire script. It reframes Morgan not as the bad guy, but as the true protagonist of the whole tale.
And this quote, it sets the stage for everything. This is Morgan's voice, and with it, she's not just criticizing Camelot, she's putting it on trial. She isn't just reacting to what's happening around her, she's the one pulling the strings, setting the entire story in motion, forcing us all to look past that polished armor and see the truth hiding underneath. So, what's the big problem Morgan has with Camelot? Well, it's that this so-called golden age isn't what it pretends to be. As this slide puts it, it's basically a gilded cage. It's this rigid, almost totalitarian social order where the knights are basically celebrities, trapped by the shining, polished chains of their own flawless reputation. It's a system built on denying the messy, chaotic, and beautiful reality of nature, and, just being human.
Right, so Morgan isn't just sitting on the sidelines criticizing this system. As we're about to see, she's taking a very, very active role in tearing it down. She's not a villain. She's the architect of a grand and, honestly, pretty dangerous experiment.
And this is where we really start to tear down those old myths. So, the misconception? That she's just some supporting actress in a story run by men. But the truth? No way. She is the master of this game. We're always told she uses her youth and beauty to seduce people, but in this version, she uses the clever disguise of an old crone. And forget the idea of her as a mother in the biological sense. Think of her as an alchemical creator.
So let's be really clear here. She is not just some simple witch casting spells. She's reimagined as this incredible Renaissance Neoplatonist philosopher and anarchist. Her goal isn't some petty revenge. It's what the source material calls a psychological apocalypse, a massive shock to the system designed to wake everybody up from the blind conformity, this herd morality of Camelot's honor code.
And here's the meta twist that honestly makes this whole thing so brilliant. Morgan knows she's a character in a story. She's totally aware that her narrative has been twisted over and over for centuries by different storytellers like a game of telephone. So her struggle isn't just inside the world of Camelot, it's a battle against her own authors to finally seize control of her own story.
Okay, so how does the architect of a psychological apocalypse actually pull it off? Well, she needs a weapon. And not just any weapon, a very specific and incredibly powerful instrument.
And let me tell you, this is not your typical magic spell. In a sequence that's described as both horrific and hallucinogenic, Morgan performs this intense alchemical ritual on a mortal lord, a guy named Bertilac. She imbues him with the green skin of raw, untamed life and turns him into not just a monster, but an amoral force of nature. He's a living, breathing weapon designed to push the idea of chivalry to its absolute breaking point.
Which, of course, brings up a fascinating question. If the Green Knight is the big, scary public face of this test, where is the mastermind who's actually pulling all the strings? And her genius is that she's hiding in plain sight. She puts on this flawless disguise as a physically repulsive old hag. Now think about it. In a court that is obsessed with beauty and perfection, she instantly becomes invisible. This lets her operate as a silent judge, watching her entire experiment unfold from the inside. And the irony is just delicious. You have these knights treating her with this exaggerated, robotic deference, and they have no idea they're bowing to the very person orchestrating their downfall.
Now, to really get Morgan's plan, we have to talk about how this story is being told, because it uses this really unique dual media structure, and it's designed to give us two totally different perspectives on the exact same soul-crushing test.
So the project is split into two parts, and they really feed off of each other. On one side, you've got the comic book. This is the intellectual why of the story. It's all told from Morgan's perspective, digging deep into her complex, esoteric philosophy. Then, on the other side, you have a stop-motion animation that gives us the visceral how. It's Gawain's terrifying emotional journey through her little test.
And as you can see right here, their styles just could not be more different. The comic has this dense, poetic Alan Moore kind of vibe, steeped in Renaissance occultism. The animation, on the other hand, is described as this work of Gothic whimsy, very much in the style of Tim Burton. One is philosophical and heady, the other is emotional and atmospheric.
Maybe the best way to get it is with the source's own powerful analogy. The comic? It's like the medical textbook. It gives you all the diagrams, the theory, the deep anatomical knowledge of what chivalry is supposed to be. But the animation, that's the surgery itself. It's the visceral, immediate, and frankly terrifying experience where all that theory gets tested against a very, very messy reality.
So, after all of this, what's the ultimate goal? What's the big truth that Morgan's game is designed to reveal? Not just about Camelot, but, by extension, about all of us.
The whole conflict really boils down to the two symbols you see here. On one side, you've got the pentacle on Gawain's shield. It's this magical seal of rigid, impossible, inhuman perfection. And on the other side, you have the green girdle, just a simple sash that ends up representing the chaotic, messy, and undeniable reality of just trying to survive.
And to get a little literary for a second, the pentangle is what you'd call monosemous. It has one single, rigid meaning: perfection. It's an endless knot designed to trap the soul in this impossible ideal. But the girdle, well, that's polysemous. Its meaning is complex, and it keeps shifting. It means survival, sure, but it also means failure and shame, and eventually a totally different, more human kind of honor. And this is the absolute key to the entire story. When Gawain, out of pure, terrified fear for his life, accepts and hides that girdle, it's not shown as his fall from grace. It's his liberation. It's the moment he finally wakes up from the simulation of chivalry and has to confront the messy, beautiful, complicated truth of what it really means to be human.
The story ends on this really powerful and kind of bittersweet note. The court, they completely miss the point of Gawain's trial. They all start wearing the green sash as this trendy new badge of honor. It's a shareable, completely superficial symbol. But for Gawain, the real token isn't the sash. It's the scar on his neck. It's an unshareable, permanent reminder of his personal failure and, in the end, of his newfound humanity. So in the end, Morgan's game is a resounding success. It holds up a mirror not just to Camelot, but to us, to our world. It forces us to ask, what are our own gilded cages? What are the perfect ideals we're always performing for other people? And what happens when a force of nature comes along and puts those ideals to the fire, revealing the messy, flawed, and ultimately beautiful humanity that's waiting inside?